Coach Spavital. Starts over here with Sam on the right side.
Jake, your assessment of Kyler's play and how much of the offense can you call with him in the game?
Still very limited at times with Kyler and the play calls. More base stuff and just, keep getting him that experience of going against, some live reps versus, different schemes and what we've gone up against. But, like any true freshman would have handled it. He was a little wide-eyed at the beginning, but, his athletic ability, he got to make some plays out there. I think he scrambled for around 75 yards, which, he wasn't very comfortable in the pocket, as you guys could probably tell with that, but he made a lot of plays with his feet. But, he's still got to keep getting that experience, got to keep getting better. And, what a great opportunity for him to get thrown into a situation like that with the defense, with 9 returning starters and, a national TV game. That's kind of the highest platform that you can throw a true freshman in. So I thought he handled it well at times, but still got to keep getting along, coming along with the scheme.
Over on the right side, Gabe.
What can you say about Kyle and the way he came back into the game for a third time and really led your team in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that was huge. We'd had this discussion, prior to the game about, Kyler possibly coming in certain situations. And, I thought he handled it well. He was great on the sideline. I thought he kept the team up. And, it was one of those things where you could look at him and be like, hey, it's your time. And, he went out there and things started clicking for him. So, I was very pleased with how Kyle handled it and the maturity that he had, throughout that whole process. Because, that could go 2 different ways. It could. But I thought he handled it well.
Front left, Christy.
Even if Kyler is a little bit limited in what you can do, what does it do for you as an offensive coordinator knowing that you have both of those guys and you can throw them out there to kind of keep the defenses off balance a little?
Yeah, that's a down the line type of deal because I think they're both talented kids, and they can play at many universities across the country. But right now over these next 2 weeks, we got to just keep these guys coming along. In the Arizona State game, there was times where I wanted to throw Kyle out there for passing plays and then keep Kyler out there for running plays. I just can't sub during the middle of the series, but. We just got to keep these guys coming along, and I'm glad that I got those 2, and then even Jake Hubenak behind us. So I feel confident at the quarterback position.
Here in front, Brent.
Jake, how would you evaluate the play of your offensive line, especially your newcomers?
Yeah, that's a very difficult scheme, and they're doing some uncharacteristic things defensively from a schematic standpoint. And some of the success Kyler had in scrambling was due that they're blitzing 4 guys off of one edge, and he just cuts it back and runs it the opposite direction. So it's tough. You started out the drive with Keaton Sutherland, and that's the first time he's seen that type of look at that type of speed. And after the game, he was like, man, they were moving around pretty fast. And it's hard to simulate that scheme with the scout team. But I thought they all handled it well. You put Stuckey in there as well. He's an inexperienced offense lineman as well, and he battled. The thing is you guys just keep repping those guys and keep them better. But I thought Avery Genesee played lights out. I thought he was very good. And Mike and Joe and GI, those guys, the consistency with things, at times that they struggled with certain looks. But, overall I thought, that right side of the line was pretty good.
Back left, KO.
Coach, with going into Ball State, what is the one thing that you need to correct in your estimation immediately, and what was the biggest surprise you took or the thing that made you happiest coming out of this game?
A lot of the corrections have got to be fundamentally and technically. The thing that we preached the entire week was about effort and toughness and tempo. Those were the 3 things that we just drilled it in their heads, that if you guys can play with a high effort and great toughness, you guys are going to be okay, because we know the scheme that the defense was going to give us is they're going to hit you for minus yard plays, but if you just play hard, you might be able to slip through the cracks on some things. And I thought we did that, and I was very pleased with the effort. And if we can increase the fundamentals and the technique of these guys, and still play with that effort, I think they're going to be a pretty good unit.
Right here in the second row, and then keep it there. We'll go to Olin next.
Hey, Coach, how much does the play of the defense, the A&M defense, affect the way you call a game, especially when they're playing as well as they played on Saturday?
Yeah, it's huge. I knew the defense had their number all night, and that's very comforting from a play calling standpoint because you can rely on your experience out there, which was Trey Carson, and I wanted to get that run game established. Yeah, the way the defense played, I was disappointed in our turnovers, and the defense got them back for us, which was huge. That was probably the biggest disappointment from the entire game was the turnovers because we got to be better with the ball. But when the defense is playing that well, it definitely you can go a little more conservative in your play calling and try to eat up some time.
Olin, then we'll go to Zach.
Yeah, Jake, considering everything, how do you evaluate, how do you feel about the overall performance of the offense? And then I was also wanting to ask you about the play calls after the turnover. Was Kyler ever supposed to do something different in that sequence?
Overall, I thought we were okay. We showed signs of, we just were not consistent at all. And I thought they made plays at certain times. If you looked at us, we 3 and outed 6 times, and we can't do that. And we turned the ball over 3 times. But then when we'd actually get like the first down of a drive, we would roll. We had a 94-yard drive. The fourth quarter we won. We moved the ball pretty efficiently. I just thought we were okay. We were up and down. And we knew going into the game that there was going to be some times where they hit us with some stuff, but at the same time, we hit them with some things too. But there's a lot of things that we can clean up, a lot of positives from the game because we know that we didn't play close to our potential. And then the play calling with Kyler, he's down there on the goal line. Wasn't too fired up about throwing the ball with him, and I thought, when the game's on the line, you got a young quarterback in there, let's get it to Trey Carson because he's been just the consistency and the toughness that I thought we can get downhill and get a touchdown off of that.
Back row, Zach.
Jake, I know he wasn't, or he only accumulated 29 yards, but Ricky Sills-Jones with 6 catches. Can you just talk about his performance and how he's progressed from last season to this season?
Yeah, Ricky is a guy that keeps getting better. Like I said, he probably had one of the better fall camps out of anybody. He's definitely a guy that can impact the game for us, and I think he's a big target, and the quarterbacks have got to be a little more accurate with him at times. But there's times that Ricky made some good catches for us and got upfield and put us in more manageable positions. When we would throw some first down calls out there. But I think Ricky's doing great right now, and again, all these kids are still young, and they got to keep coming along. And if we can clean up some things technically and fundamentally, they're going to be just fine.
Sam, and then we'll go to Cease.
It looked like Kyler got a little banged up. Will that affect him moving forward?
No, he's good. Same plan as usual.
And with Kyle, it seemed like you mentioned it clicked a little bit late in the game. What do you think changed that? It seemed like early in the second half they were struggling moving the ball with Kyle, and then when he came back in, it seemed like you guys were able to get it going. What changed in your mind?
A lot of it is just the conditioning. It was hot down there, and we were probably hitting around like that was about our 70th snap of the game, and they wore down, and the pass rush wasn't coming as fast as it was those first 3 quarters, and it gave Kyle a lot more time back there in the pocket to throw it around a bit, and you can tell that the passing yards in that fourth quarter increased a lot because we had more time to protect.
Cease on the left side.
When White gets hurt like that, Jake, what's your next 2 options? If you had to go 2 running backs for whatever reason behind that, where's the depth behind Trey when White goes out?
We work Brandon Williams every day, just for emergency. Not a huge amount of plays because we want him to develop on defense, but Brandon had the entire spring ball because remember Trey Carson wasn't. He had surgery and wasn't playing in spring ball, so this gave him Brandon an opportunity to get a lot of valuable reps. So we're comfortable with Brandon flipping over at times and getting downhill with it, And then you have Dolezal and Kwame, who those guys are always guys that I feel confident enough to put in for 1 snap, 2 snaps here and there. Just like what happened with Trey. His helmet popped off. We put Dolezal in for 1 play, and then he goes right back in the game. And that's. We are a little thin at that position, but we've got some answers with B-Will coming over and helping us out at times.
We'll wrap up with Brent here in front.
You mentioned the next 2 weeks with the quarterbacks, keep bringing them along. Coach Sumlin talked about how the plan was to play Kyler all along regardless. Mm-hmm. Once you get into SEC play, can fans expect to still see 2 quarterbacks at that time when the Aggies are playing SEC opponents?
I think that has to do with how they progress through these next 2 weeks. I gotta see a lot more efficiency in quarterback play to play multiple guys, and I think these next 2 weeks, you give them all three a chance just to go out there and then see what they're capable of doing, and we got to keep getting these questions answered. But yeah, if they both are playing at a high level, then I can see us definitely packaging some things in with both of them.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right.